Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is the PAPAJO Show, where PAPAJO knows I am your host, PAPAJO, and I do appreciate y'all being here today. We're going to have some fun looking at First Republic Bank and some very interesting things that took place over the weekend because they failed. Again, this is the second time they failed. This time they actually got bought out by another bank, which is JP Morgan. We'll talk about that in here in just a minute as well, which is not a good thing because the whole theory of the too big to fail stuff, yeah, that's being created now, and then we're going to take some look at some stuff around JP Morgan that I'm not going to put up on the screen, but I'm going to just point to. Y'all do your digging on it. We'll kind of look at that towards the end here. Also, some interesting things around the regulatory environment with cryptos. Been touching up on these a little bit here recently, mainly because you have to understand these tie into the current events and things that are coming down the pipe that we need to not only to be ready for, but just be able to appropriately adjust as needed, kind of thing. So, thank you for being here today. Do me a favor, if you're new to the show, give us a subscribe, grab the bell, let us know that you went, because we do go live a couple times a week here. Something else that I would love if y'all checked out. Down here is the link for the Patreon. It's also in the description of the video. That is really where I have used it to take the gloves off to have a conversation with y'all about things that it would get this channel completely shut down. But I'm trying to figure out in my head how to maybe get that information a little more openly available for people. So I've had multiple people go, I just can't do this right now. And you know what? At the end of the day, maybe it needs to be one of those things where I don't know right now. I'm thinking through it. But anyways, check it out. As Daddy-O here has pointed out, he loved the brisket video, which I'm very, very glad you enjoyed that. I did a lot of, I do have different hobbies, and several people have asked, hey, you do all these barbecue, go check it out. It's there. If you're part of the Patreon, I did a video on how I do things. So I don't do things normally. A lot of people have said that over the years, like, your stuff's just not normal. Like, people like it, I like it, and at the end of the day, if I like it, I don't really care what people say. But to be honest with you, I just don't, because it tastes good to me. Coffee, what are y'all drinking? I'm enjoying some coffee this morning, this afternoon, whatever. I know we're a little late. We've been running a little late with stuff recently. I've been very inundated with things at work, and as I get breaks and stuff, I'm trying to make sure I'm available for different things. My business seems to be getting some traction with some stuff, so it's just been really busy. So appreciate you guys who are here every day. It is lovely to see you guys. By the way, there's a live chat running. Pop in, say hey if you're watching live. I do love seeing who's there, and towards the end of the show, I like to say hey to everybody. So anyhow, enough of all that fun stuff. First Public Bank is seized. It was sold to JP Morgan in the second largest U.S. bank failure in history. Well, I don't want to say in history, but recently. We'll call it recently. Regulators seized First Republic Bank and struck a deal to sell the bulk of its operations to JP Morgan Chase, heading off a chaotic collapse that threatened to reignite a recent bank crisis. This is no different. I don't see how they're like, oh my goodness, we're gonna fix this by selling it ahead of time. If I'm not mistaken, I saw this in a document someone shared, and I couldn't find the document, and it was a federal document about how banks can't have more than 10% of the nation's deposits on deposit. Meaning, it creates a scenario where you don't have too many big banks, right? You don't have a bank that's too big. Well, this whole scenario right here bumps JP Morgan over that significantly, from what I understand. Now JP Morgan is in violation of regulations around how much they have on deposit. Can't have too much. It needs to be spread around, because if it's not spread around, it's too centralized, it causes a problem. And I want to remind everybody that there is a lawsuit against JP Morgan. and really Jamie Dimon and the senior levels of JP Morgan around the alleged information involving or around JP Morgan, or not JP Morgan, Jeffrey Epstein and that whole mess, bank account stuff there. They all knew. They joked about it. I've read a lot of the letters and the emails, the emails and the information around it, y'all. What happens when the largest bank in the country, now other than the Federal Reserve, collapses because, oh, I don't know, people don't want to do business with that type of stuff? The thing is, guys, is that it's everywhere. Every company does this kind of crap. Not every company, but for the most part, every company that is large and whatnot. All the different people who are in positions of authority in these companies, in some way, form, or fashion, are owned by the banks. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But we'll just keep reading here and talking about this here. JP Morgan said it will assume all of First Republic's $92 billion in deposits, insured and uninsured. It is also buying most of the bank's assets, including about $173 billion in loans and $30 billion in securities. So where's the money coming from? JP Morgan just has that cash on hand? Okay. Well, if they're doing that, how are they going to? What happens if there's a bank run on JP Morgan? You'll see where I'm going. This is just a prolonged I don't know how to say it. It's a prolonged attempt to get this system to keep it going. As part of the agreement, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, will share losses with JP Morgan on First Republic's loans. The agency estimated that its insurance fund would take a hit of $13 billion in the deal. JP Morgan also said it would receive $50 billion in financing from FDIC. So $63 billion from the FDIC. What was before the last problem? What was it, last month with the banks or the month before with SVB and Silicon Valley? Not Silicon Valley. What was the others? There's a couple of them. I don't remember right now. Brain's farting. I don't have enough coffee in my system. I'm pretty sure they drew down their entire available insurance fund. Pretty sure. Where's the money coming from, y'all? Where's the money coming from? Everyone needs to follow the money here. Follow the money. Okay? Follow the money. The second largest bank, so San Francisco-based First Republic, the second largest bank to fail in the United States history, lost $100 billion in deposits in March. So people pulled out $100 billion of deposits and they dissipate. Thank you, Lithia Signature. Sorry, there was one other one too, and I don't remember. Silvergate. Those multiple banks, Signature and Silvergate. Yes, thank you guys. Y'all are great. I love it when y'all pop in and join the show like that. It's great. Can't remember everything. Got to be humble and always remember someone else knows more than you. So, anyways, thanks guys. Appreciate that. So people are actually running on the banks. $100 billion in deposits left the bank in March. Following the collapse of fellow Bay Area lender Silicon Valley Bank. So they're all contagion. It limped along for weeks after a group of America's biggest banks came to its rescue with a $30 billion. So it lost $100 billion. It received $30 billion in deposits, and some of those deposits were actually from JP Morgan. Those deposits will be repaid after the deal closes. Really? It will? Huh. How? 3 of the 4 largest ever U.S. bank failures have occurred in the last 2 months. 3 of the 4. So far, this isn't over yet, y'all. First Republic, with some $230 billion in assets, at the end of the first quarter, ranks just behind the 2008 collapse of Washington Mutual Incorporated. Rounding out the top 4 are Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and a New York-based lender that was just failed in March. Y'all, This is not a joke. Here we go. This little next part. This deal means JP Morgan, the largest bank in the US, is positioned to emerge from the current crisis even better. Really? Because I think they're going to fail the hardest. The bigger they are, the harder they fall, right? The lender has said it got about $50 billion in new deposits from panicky customers looking to move their money to a too big to fail bank following March's failures. JP Morgan has now had $2.4 trillion in deposits at the end of the first quarter. Guys, what happens when those lawsuits come through? I really think this bank is unfortunately going to have problems in the not too far future. They're too big. 2.4 trillion. The FDIC has had, excuse me, I don't think it has anything anymore. It had like $300 billion or something like that for bailing out a bank. For each individual, excuse me. I don't remember. All I'm saying is, hey, there's smoke over here. There's probably fire. There will be soon. Kind of like a magnifying glass. So First Republic collapsed. It's a blow to the entrepreneur ecosystem. So something people aren't realizing, that most of these banks are startup related banks or capital funding banks or venture capital banks. Venture capitalists say the failure of First Republic Bank is another blow to the entrepreneur banking services that helped propel a technologically technologically investment boom. Excuse me. Sorry about that, y'all. The First Republic and Silicon Valley Bank. I wonder how much First Republic touched crypto-related things. Anyhow, First Republic and Silicon Valley Bank have been cornerstones in the entrepreneur ecosystem, offering services tailored to startups and venture capitalists. After SVB collapsed in March, fear of a banking contagion sparked a run on First Republic deposits, leading regulators to seize and sell the bulk of First Republic JP Morgan Chase. Venture capitalists worry about whether other banks will embed themselves as deeply into the startup market. The banking crisis also has made raising venture capital more difficult. You're starting a business, y'all, and you need venture capitalists, you need investors, a bank loan. Good luck getting it now. I hate to say that, but good luck getting it now. The bank crisis has also made forcing startups to extend fundraising campaigns, creating stock, hoping people will like their products and buy it. This is something else to pay attention with this other little tidbit here. First Republic turmoil adds to the credit crunch. Investors should avoid these three areas of the market. And where was it? The First Republic Bank failure and takeover by JP Morgan Chase is the latest indication that the strains from raising interest rates, which is probably going to happen again this week, y'all. Not that that matters or anything to the crypto market, but y'all need to understand the banks are failing, like we've talked about. This is going to happen. Guess what? It's now happening. Crypto is the exit strategy, y'all. You can go get gold and silver if you can find it. Crypto is the exit strategy. Oh, where was it at? Okay, so the raising interest rates are starting to begin to show themselves. The strain from this happening. The reason Gavekel research analyst on Monday suggested investors be wary of bank stocks, small cap stocks, and cyclical stocks. So they're telling you don't touch the banks, don't touch the small cap businesses, and don't touch the cyclical stock. I actually don't know what a cyclical stock is. I gotta look that up. The failures of First Republic, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature Bank will likely add to the exodus of deposits from U.S. commercial banks as savers seek out better yielding money market funds. When they realize those are still tied to the banks and tied to the stock market, which is tied to the banks, they will recognize quickly that they need to get their money out. A lot of people are actually taking money out and putting it in a safe, putting it on the mattress, or something like that. Guys, gals, listen to me. When they realize that these are all tied together, and they will soon, they will pull their money out and they will put it into crypto. Crypto is poised to explode because of the inflationary problems, because of the banking failures. This is going to be very problematic for most people, and I hope y'all are ready. My regulars, y'all are here every time I do a show, and I absolutely appreciate it and love it to death. If you have gotten this far and you like what you're hearing, do me a favor, smash the likes and let us know. Let YouTube know, really, this is worth other people paying attention to. Anyhow, that exodus is aggravating. The credit crunch already beginning to unfold. Um, I've had lots of people reach out saying that they've had credit cards for years. They use them every once in a while, keep them current, blah, blah, blah. Had like $20,000 limits. Those got bumped down to $5,000. People are going, wait, what the crap? And that's an immediate hit to their credit score too, because available credit is shrinking, right? Credit shrinking. Yeah. Anyway, this will continue to do so as U.S. commercial banks try to deal with rising funding costs by selling less profitable assets. Excuse me. Oh boy. Fun stuff, y'all. The result, fewer banks will be able to make new loans. Wait a minute. I thought they could make money out of nothing by keeping 10% of your deposit on hand in the bank and then making a loan out of 900% or whatever it is. You put $100 in and they can make $900 with it. Okay, just to put it into perspective, they get to keep 10% on hand, but they can make $900 worth of loans out of that $100. Just to put that into perspective, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, I say often on the show, go to my website. It's linked in the description of the video, Aster Blockchain Consulting. Go over to the resources tab right here. Go down at the bottom, required education. Okay, go in here, go pull up that YouTube. I have Mike Maloney's permission to have this here. Do me a favor, watch all 10 of those and we'll understand. I think, where does money come from? 5. Also 4 would be really, really good there. De-dollarization, you'll see interesting things. Very, very interesting information. So check it out. Also, if you just want to have a conversation around stuff, I do one-on-one consulting. If you have business ideas, I do business consulting, things like that too. So all blockchain and crypto based. Cool stuff. I think it's cool stuff. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think it was worth the time. Trying to be ready for the world right before it needs it, kind of thing. All right. Where was I? Fewer banks will be able to create loans. A reason investors should assess what is in their portfolio could be most vulnerable as lenders become more conservative with their reserve assets and interbank borrowing costs rise. Y'all know that during the pandemic, during the hunger disease, whatever we call it here, right? That the requirement to keep 10% of deposits on hand was removed. Yes, I have had multiple people go, well, Trump did that. Trump Trump printed all that money. How do you kill a beast that? How do you kill this system? How do you bring a system like this to its knees? You print so much money that it causes it to collapse. Hyperinflation. You then require or take the regulations away from the banks, basically giving enough rope to, take care of themselves. That happened to destroy this system because it's mired in literal evil. It is designed to enslave and entrap humanity. It is 100% designed that way. If you don't believe me, go read The Creature from Jekyll Island. It explains in detail how this works. And it tells us history that is not really widely known. Don't worry about the history part. History is becoming the suppressed history of the world is starting to make its way out. Things are starting to trickle out, y'all. Things are starting to become widely known and more available information to all of us. Just look, go read, pay attention, watch what's going on. Stay tuned to the PAPAJO show because we may actually do some stuff around that. Bring some of that history to light. We'll see. We'll see. So, y'all, we talked about the Gensler hearings last week or week before last when they happened, right? Gary Gensler hearing means what it means for the crypto regulation and policy. Gensler was reluctant to go into details and faced some symbolic pressure rather than genuine attempts to interrogate, leaving the crypto industry without any new clarity. I have told y'all over and over and over again, the current regulatory bodies do not have authority to regulate crypto assets. It is not within their purview. Why? Because Congress hasn't given them the authority to do so. And in the hearings, Congress points that out, that they haven't given them the authority, the framework, the guidance, which is where that comes from. The SEC is not some regulatory body that they get to arbitrarily get to go do what they want. No, they get their permission, their charter, and their existence from the Congress. Congress is representative of the people. You see where this is going? They're taking authority that isn't theirs. And several of the people who are interrogating him actually pointed that out. So no, you're not going to get new clarity because they don't have jurisdiction. The CFTC doesn't have jurisdiction. They can say it's commodity because it is, but it's also cash. It's technology, first and foremost, y'all. That's what I keep coming back to. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin included, Litecoin included, those are technology. It's digital assets. You need to understand, code can be changed. They can say X, Y, and Z is this. Their regulatory body is this. All they got to do is change the code and they're outside of it. It's technology. It's software. Okay? They don't get that. They think this is rock solid. This is a centralized entity and they're going to do these things. It's stock you can spend. It's access to their ecosystem. It is a method for you to be able to build on top of that ecosystem. It is software, technology. First and foremost, yes, there's a monetary aspect to it. Guess what? It's a pay-to-play type of an environment. But it's also a play-to-earn type of an environment. It is a way for you to earn an income by simply investing in an ecosystem. It's also a way for you to build a business inside of a decentralized distributed ecosystem that is outside of the norm. People just don't get this. I've listened to some of Gary Gensler's lectures at MIT. The man has no idea what he's talking about. He's also talking out both sides of his mouth. Because in his lectures, he says that most cryptos aren't securities. And now he's saying most cryptos are securities. Which is it, pal? You don't know what you're talking about. Need I remind you, he was also the CFO for Hillary Clinton's campaign and would have known heavily about, by the way, the payments that went through to different people. You know what I'm talking about? But that's none of my business, is it? Well, that was, by the way, asked in the congressional hearings, too. That was pretty funny to watch. Bitcoin is down today, but it's slightly trying to come back. Don't worry, y'all. Don't worry. The Dow is up. Bitcoin is down. They're decoupling, or they're going opposite. Gold is down. Silver is down. It's interesting. That's an interesting spike on that silver candle. Divvy is doing its thing, y'all. There's a lot of selling pressure. Someone's being a butthead. Let's put it that way. Someone's driving that price down. Or people invested way too much and they need it again, or they need it now. It's also possible. Very probable. Matic is slightly down. Matic has some pretty amazing news. MasterCard is doing some stuff with Matic. It's very cool stuff. Axie as a income related things, I think back to its all-time high. Who knows? But you just under 40% yield, so to speak, which is pretty cool. Anyhow, let's see mortgage rates. Right, those don't update every day for me here. Let's see where we at. JB Morgan is up. Oh, look at those gaps. Look at those gaps. It's crazy. Oh, let's go down here. Yeah, First Republic stock is worth nothing. Zero. It is worth a zero. Yo. Oh, XRP looks like it's down too. Guys, when this stuff finishes destroying itself, crypto will be left over. When the dust settles, it'll be crypto. All right. I'm going to run through. Say hey to everybody. By the way, if you're part of the Patreon, I did string together a series of different videos of how I prepare my brisket, how I cook my brisket, all that fun stuff. I did not go into any detail on different pieces of it. Maybe I'll do some commentary on that at some point and just kind of explain why, how, all the different pieces, some ideas, tips and tricks, stuff like that. But I would like to get some better equipment to film my stuff. So it wasn't great for what it's worth. I am working on trying to figure out what certain people are using and doing and whatnot that do that type of stuff so that I can appropriately provide that type of thing for you. So anyways, Lithia, good afternoon. How are you? Thanks for being part of the show today. And Daddy-O, you as well. And as Daddy-O points out here, the brisket, very glad you enjoyed that. Very, very glad. I'm glad you did. Thanks for being a patron, brother. I do appreciate it very, very much. How much does it render down? I do a lot of butts, but they usually render down about half. So it comes down to your trimming. So as I mentioned in the video, how I trim and how much I leave on the fat cap, and how much of the fat I leave inside the meat, it comes down to well, it depends on how much is on there. So I do things. I'll go ahead and tell you all this. I'll cook it for at least 12 hours, sometimes 14 to 16, depending on the size of the meat. I then take it off and I put it in a holding tank. The holding tank is held at 150 degrees indefinitely. It is laser accurate. And at some point, maybe I can do something where I show you all what I did with that. But what it does is I will then hold it for another 16 plus hours in that holding tank, which then renders the meat absolutely perfect. So anyhow, just a little tidbit there, but I'll show you kind of what I did at some point. Maybe I can build another one and do a video on that for y'all. I'll show you what that looks like. So anyways, we got Gloria. How are you today? Thanks for being part of the show. Johnny Holder, good morning to you. Appreciate you being here. As always, you guys are great. We got Trinity Man in the house. What's up, brother? Thanks for being part of the show. I do appreciate y'all being here today. And let's see. You have a bingo card, a bingo sheet for next year, or at X. Yeah, I saw that. I love it, man. I found one that actually has them all the way through. It's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. The banks are not doing really, really well. We got Steven. What's going on, man? Thanks for being here today. It's great to see you. Who else we got in here? Baby Bobby. Bobby. Wow, there's my dyslexia coming out. Holy cow. Sorry. I was speaking to an executive that works for JP Morgan at a friend's wedding yesterday, and it's comical the pride these banker individuals walk around with. Rather, you and I are going to have a conversation about that because, quite frankly, I am curious about that one. Anyhow, let's see. Training Man points out banks required to now hold 0 on hand. 0. No longer required to hold 10%. Nothing to see here. I think that was done on purpose to help the system just go away. Anyhow, Bobby, 6 months to the Bitcoin rally, statistically speaking. We shall see. I think if things break, I think that's going to happen a lot quicker. We'll see, though. We'll see. Baby Bobby, that's right. That's what I'm going to call you, and I know who you are. Anyhow, y'all have an amazing, beautiful rest of the day. We should have a Patreon this afternoon. Have not quite decided what I'm going to do yet on that, but we will have some fun with it, as we always do. Check it out. Even if you don't watch the videos, it does support the channel. So that is one way to do that. So I do appreciate those of you who do that. There are some people who never watch them, and you're just still there, and it's amazing. Whoop, sorry. Thank y'all. I do appreciate it. So anyhow, talk to you later. Take it easy. Be blessed. Talk to you soon.